Bitcoin, we were pretty comfortable staying long while we were consolidating in between these daily moving averages, but underneath the daily 20 moving average really gives us a sell setup. So we need to be a little bit careful here. I'm going to zoom out a minute, take the moving averages away, and we can say that if we drop and close below the 236 fib from this low to this high, then we are in a bigger correction, and I would say that this rising wedge is breaking down. Now intraday, when I say close, below 6,600, that means the daily close. So intraday, I think that it might squeak underneath to 6,400. Bitcoin loves to mess with people. And when I look at this sequence here, we really need 5 waves to finish on this last swing, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, this is 4, so that we're at risk of a 5th wave that will retest the low, make a marginal new low probably. And so I'm going to have a hard stop underneath this support and resistance level at 6,400, and I'm going to wait and see if it bounces, and if it does, I'm going to stay long and trail it up. But I've certainly reduced my position. Not everything looks bad. There's a couple of bigger alts that are holding up, but the main thing that Bitcoin is following is the stock market. So we're going to move away and take a quick look at the stock market and see why we've got a bit of a problem here. If we look at the daily chart of the S&P, you can see that we've stalled at the 50% back from this high to low. That's a very common level to reverse that in corrections. And we could, very often in 3 or 4 day holiday weekends, there's a 3-day holiday reversal rule. And it says that whatever the trend was going into the holiday is very often reversed afterwards. So I would expect to see a bigger pullback here in the S&P at this big 50% level. The support in the S&P is at 2644 in these previous highs and lows. If we lose that, and if we lose the daily 20 moving average, again, this will be this correction complete. This is pretty good support at 2644, but even just dipping down there will cause some downward pressure on Bitcoin. If we look at the NASDAQ, we've got a very similar scenario. Here we are, we've reversed again here at the 200 moving average and the 50% from this high to this low. So trouble in the NASDAQ, trouble in the Russell, 38.2 from this high to this low, and significant support and resistance if we look left on our chart as well. And so potentially some selling in stock indexes to start the week, and that will weigh heavily on Bitcoin. So that's what I'm watching in other markets. For example, the UK FTSE, the DAX, they're all closed. So that does cause a little bit less liquidity as well, which won't help. The other thing I'm watching is oil, because we've had some pretty good news. I'll go into it a bit more in detail at the moment, but the market's not exactly falling over themselves to buy oil at the moment, and so a collapse in oil, despite the deal, will weigh heavy as well. The biggest problem in oil, of course, is demand. So sticking with crypto, I think there's potential for at least a retest of the lows and likely a marginal new low here in Bitcoin, and a daily close below 6,600 is a bearish reversal and a sell signal for me. Where are we going to go? That's everybody's key question, isn't it, in Bitcoin? Well, initially, this is, we're going to look for 50% back, especially, given that this kind of, we could argue in Bitcoin, can't we, that this is a 50% retrace. So if we go from this high to this low, it's around this 50% level that we've stopped. Depending on which exchange you look at, or particularly the futures, this is a 50% retrace of this high to low. When you have a 50% retrace going this way, then initially you're going to look for 50% back. So if we do 50% back here, if we lose 6,600, then initially we're going to look for 5,600. So we're going to lose $1,000. Well, that's also kind of 18%. So we don't really want to do that if we don't have to. Might as well sell it and buy it back cheaper. Okay, I'm popping my moving averages back on. And in terms of my moving average strategy, this is a classic sell, a rally back to bearish moving averages. And they're flat though. So I'm going to say it's less of a trend, but it can turn into one in a hurry. So we need to watch out for that. Okay.